Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Sabrina Daly.
And I am Isani Cayetano. Good morning.
Good morning, Isani.
Good morning, Sab.
Nice to see you. We both look very, very refreshed, I will say. I feel like I feel refreshed, and you came in quite chipper this morning yourself.
I'm good, actually.
You're good.
I spent a rather relaxing weekend.
Yeah.
Albeit I was out and about, but nothing too heavy or nothing too much. Today is the 17th of January, 2023. And so we're back to work, back to school, back to business. We're coming off the George Price weekend. And I think beyond the members of the People's United Party, as a nation, many of us took some time to, reflect on the meaning of nationhood in the context of George Price's contribution to Belize and the Belizean society. And so, while we enjoyed the public and bank holiday, the first for the year, well, if you count January 1st, which is New Year's Day, so we'll say second. The second for the year thus far, you ought to have, reflected or thought back to what George Price, the Right Honorable George Cadle Price, meant for us as a people, right? And so what we want to do for our special What's Buzzing segment this morning is to look at a small reflection. I say small because there's a lot that we can say and go on about George Price's contributions to Belize, but we'll leave it at saying a small contribution, a small reflection, that is, on his life and his works and how he is appreciated as the father of the nation. So we'll go to that video, we'll come back and do a little chit chat.
I had the good fortune of having an uncle who was very close to George Price. And that was Everell Waite, who was married to my aunt Rita. And as soon as I came home from England, where I was studying, he took me to see the premier at the time, Mr. Price. Apparently that was the custom, that whenever a graduate came home in those days, he would pay a courtesy call on the premier. Well, that was my first lesson to go up to, at that time it was the Supreme Court building, and the other side, Mr. Price had his office, the premier office at the corner. And Everell Waite took me there to see him, and I had to queue up because there were a lot of people. This is a Wednesday, waiting to see Mr. Price. So I joined the queue. When my turn came, he saw me in, and he welcomed me and said, "Oh, you studied law?" "Yes." "Oh, we need lawyers." At that time, we needed more lawyers. I'm not too sure now. He said, "Well, you know that is a privilege, and I hope you will use that privilege to help the less fortunate in our country." He started off giving me a lesson, a lecture in fact, which I welcomed. And in fact, I remembered that when I had the opportunity to to start a program right at the corner of U Road and Hydes Lane. We called it, it was more or less the first kind of legal aid in Belize. And I was meeting people who couldn't pay anything and just advising them about their law, their rights and whatnot. And I found that very useful. That was my first lesson from George Price, help the poor. The second one was this custom that he started, and I think very few leaders in the world have realized the value of that, to meet the people one-on-one. And he did this religiously every week on a Wednesday. The clinic, the famous Wednesday clinic. So that was a second lesson that I learned from him, which I adopted myself when I became Prime Minister. Anyway, we had a good meeting. That was my first encounter with George Price. Later on, of course, he enveloped me, in fact, took me into the party and welcomed me. And I ran my first election and lost. But he came to me and he said, "Don't worry, I lost my first election too." Apparently he had run for city council before, and town council anyway, and had lost his first election too. But then he went on to win, as you know, I think from the 50s right up to the time of independence. He was first minister and then prime premier, and of course prime minister when we got our independence. And of course I spent many years under his tutelage, if you like. He was my mentor when I became a member of the cabinet. And that was quite an experience for me, just to watch him, how he conducted his meetings in cabinet. The first lesson he gave us in cabinet was, if you want to be rich, go into business, but don't become a politician. You don't become a politician to make money. You become a politician to serve the people. Yeah, Mr. Price wasn't into making money. He wasn't into living a lifestyle of wealth. He wasn't interested. In fact, he lived like a peasant. He would walk on the streets in Belmopan, picking up the garbage, paper that people litter, setting lessons for people who watch it, of course. But he was a very humble man, very modest. When I traveled with him, for instance, in touring the country, all he would have is some sardines, sandwiches, you know, for lunch. I tell him, Mr. Price, I can't handle that, you know. Well, I would say the greatest lesson that Mr. Price gave us is to maintain your dignity and your honesty. He was a man of integrity. He didn't go into politics, as I said before, to make money. In other words, corruption was the thing that you could never accuse Mr. Price of being corrupt in politics. He wasn't. And I believe that's why the people loved him. That's why you and I love him. Because he was so pure, such a purist in that sense. And I think that will live on forever, because he's one of the few in the world today that has lived a life of integrity, complete integrity.
Words from the Right Honorable Said Musa as he remembers the father of the nation. So yes, that was over the weekend. We reflected on his contributions to nationhood. And I know that for the People's United Party, the political organization to which George Price belonged, this was a big deal.
Yes.
And George Price is very much still a big deal, right? I think some of the ideals and the fundamentals of the party surround what George Price stood for as a man, first and foremost, as a Belizean, and then his political philosophies and views on how to govern and run a country as such.
I absolutely agree, Sani, and I have to say, you know, yesterday represented not exactly the honoring of a political member, as you said, but more so just how far Belize has come through this individual, through his contributions. And I hope that years to come we can continue to honor the Right Honorable George Price in this way, and his contributions will live on.
Traditionally, there would have been a wreath-laying ceremony, and members of the party and other Belizeans in society would, you know, be present to remember him as his grave site. I think we departed from that this time around, but the idea of remembering who this individual is, I
Right.
think for years to come we'll be, you know, teaching our kids about him. We'll hold him dearly to us as one of our Belizean iconoclasts.
Totally agree. I want to really just move on into our show this morning, and we have our Eye on the News taken from DailyOn.com.
The eye-opener.
The eye opener, that is. It goes, would you like to take it away this morning?
Go ahead.
You want me to go? Okay. So the title is, when we schedule too much in our lives, trying to meet our obligations, we only end up draining our energy. We all encounter obligations in life, from spending time with family and friends to being present at important functions in the lives of the people we form our community. Many times, the obligations are actually fun and fulfilling, and we want to be there. At the same time, we all sometimes experience resistance to meeting these obligations, especially when they pile up all at once and we begin to feel exhausted, longing for nothing so much as a quiet evening at home. At times like these, we may want to say no, but feel too guilty at the idea of not being there. Still, our primary obligation is to take care of ourselves, and if saying no to someone else is what we have to do, then we do not need to feel bad about it. Meeting our obligations to others is an important part of being human, and not one to take lightly. At the same time, we cannot meet every obligation without neglecting our primary duty to take care of ourselves. We can navigate this quandary by being conscious of what we choose to do and not do, and by finding concrete ways to extend our caring when we are not able to be there in person.
I think in essence what the eye-opener is sharing with us is that notwithstanding our many responsibilities to others who depend on us, we should be able to take time for self-care.
Yes.
Too many times we're concerned with quote-unquote trying to save the world, and then we neglect ourselves and our personal or individual needs. Then we find out, why do I feel overwhelmed? Why do I feel as if though everything is just piling up on top of me? Well, perhaps it's because we did not take that time to step back and say, you know what, let me address my own needs at this point. You know, either you have mental, emotional, spiritual needs that you need to be able to address and find one with yourself, so to speak, before being able to continue on with your obligations, right? You look at, for instance, parenthood. I believe that's the classic example here. Most often as parents, we're concerned with getting our kids together, you know, either ready for school, making sure that they're fed, making sure that assignments are done, making sure that they're proper, so to speak. And in the process of so doing, we're not taking time to say, okay, I've done all of this up to this particular point. Let me step back now and take care of me. if it means some alone time, if it means being able to pamper yourself, if that were the case, we seldom do that. And at the end of the day, man, I'm tired. I'm tired of, railing up or being around the kids. Or it's because you didn't really take time to say, you know what, I'll take an hour off and just do me, so to speak.
It really makes me think of, and I might be quoting it incorrectly, but I think the main message is that you can't fill another's cup if your cup is empty. And I think we are in an era where everyone is overly ambitious and they're trying to be a part of everything, so to speak, especially young people at this time. I need to be here to show face here. I need to mingle with these people, but I also need to be doing this, and I need to be going to school. And I need to make sure I work out, and I need to do all of this, right? So really and truly, this eye-opener brings us back to self and remind us that, again, you can't give to another if you're empty. So it really makes me think about myself. I think people pleasing is really the root of this issue. So I encourage everyone that is watching or even just heard the eye-opener to remember to take time for self-care, to remember that you cannot fill another's cup if your cup is empty.
Perfect. All right, so we take this moment now to get into our weather forecast for the day. Are we?
Not as yet, but tell me, Isani, how was the weather this morning when you were on your way here?
I'll begin by talking about the weather this weekend.
Okay, yes.
Yeah. Thankfully, we had sunny skies. I think yesterday was a beautiful day to be out. I know a lot of people, because of the extended weekend, used yesterday to be able to either do some small traveling and what have you. But by and large, we didn't have any rains. There was a cold front over the weekend.
Yes, we did anticipate that, though, from Friday's coverage. So I guess we will be confirming that and also finding out what's the weather that we can expect this week from the National Meteorological Service. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Hi, good morning. We have on the line with us forecaster Rodon. Good morning.
Good morning.
Forecaster, talk to us. What can we expect today and hopefully into the extended week?
Okay, conditions are dry over the region, and we can expect mainly fair weather. So for today, we're expecting sunny skies with a few cloudy spells and partly cloudy skies tonight, but with little or no rainfall.
What are the wind conditions that we can expect?
Okay, from the east to southeast at 10 to 20 knots, and the sea stays choppy.
Any outlook on the waves? What type of waves are we expecting?
Choppy waves, 3 to 5 feet. So there's no caution or anything at the moment.
Okay. And the general outlook?
For Wednesday, tomorrow, we're expecting continuing mainly fair and dry weather, and that continues through to Thursday as well.
Talk to us about temperature, because we did talk about, moments ago, a slight cold front that we felt. It felt almost like Christmas again.
Yes, we had a cold front that passed Friday night, so the cool air was coming down, Saturday, Sunday, and even yesterday. But we can expect a gradual warming up over the next few days. But for today, temperatures highs will be 82 along the coast, 86 inland, and 75 up in the hills. The lows tonight, 77 along the coast, 64 inland, 59 up in the hills. Nice.
And the astronomical conditions?
Okay. There's a high at 6:58 this morning, and another one at 5:33 this evening. Low tides occur at 11:23 this morning and at 1:31 tonight.
All right. Thank you very much, forecaster Rodon, and we hope you do enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome, and same to you.
All right. So we go now to our Eye on the News segment. There are two topics that I want to discuss in our brief Eye on the News segment this morning. The first has to do with the buzz of the town, so to speak, over the weekend. I know that in last week, the Belize City Council conferred upon Andre Gray the keys to the city of Belize. And our colleagues in the media on Friday followed up with this individual to kind of get to the bottom of some of the things he credits himself for inventing. And I think in all of what has transpired, the primary question remains, was there sufficient due diligence done prior to conferring upon Mr. Gray the keys to Belize City? Because while he presents himself as an inventor and as a credited inventor, a number of questions loom over his credibility in claiming to have invented some of these things. And like I said, while some of it may be true, while some of it may be exaggerated, the idea here is that when you give someone that honor, this prestigious conferral, you ought to have done your homework. I think that's the prevailing thought here, that one should have done proper due diligence to ensure that he is who he says he is. Not taking anything away from the gentleman,
Right.
but we're just speaking openly to say that if you are claiming right or propriety, if I may, over something, then you have to be able to stand on proof that says, okay, if I am an inventor who did this, here is the proof that I was the first to have either founded or invented a particular item, either patents, trademarks, copyrights, whatever it is that comes along with that as proof positive of what you say you have done. And I think that's the buzz this weekend, because
Definitely.
while there was a news item on the other media houses, and we kind of held back simply because, and I'll go on a limb here, when you interviewed him ahead of what would have been your Bright Side story, you found out that there has been this buzz around trying to question his credibility and what have you. And so we kind of held back for that particular
Right.
purpose. But lo and behold, things unfolded otherwise.
No, I have to absolutely agree. I think this weekend proved to be one that we did not expect. Of course, as you said, I want to think that we gave the City Council the benefit of the doubt to have done their own due diligence. Distributing such an honor to an individual, you don't do that just by word confirmation. So I think the steps that follow now has to do a lot with damage control, perhaps, on either side, and hopefully the reputation of Andre Gray, if it is indeed that he was what he said he was, this is an opportunity for him to really show his credentials. On the side of the City Council, perhaps we can expect some comments from them today to really establish what the situation is and what will follow after this weekend's happening.
I think, at least for me, and my place in the media, I interact with people a lot, right? And so people that I met were asking, hey, well, what are your thoughts? Well, I reserved my thoughts because I wasn't the one that either did the item or did my own research to find out or verify if what he says is actually true. Suffice to say that listening to people, they had very basic, straightforward questions that anyone would have, right? To say, well, if you are who you say you are, an acclaimed inventor, then you should be up there with some of the wealthiest people on this planet. Because when you think of inventors today, they're not your Thomas Edisons or your Benjamin Franklins or other people from back in the past where there wasn't big money involved around coming up with something conceptually or otherwise. And so those are some of the questions that were being fielded to me. And I just kind of held back and said, you know what? Let the chips fall where they may with
Right.
that. I'm just, reserving where I stand on the matter because I wasn't involved in it directly in terms of, interviewing the fellow or looking into his background, But it's a chatter, and we have to be able to address it as such. So that's the first item that I wanted to touch on coming out of the weekend. On to more sad news, however. We learned over the weekend that a third victim has passed away from the deadly New Year's Eve attack in Belmopan. So our condolences to the family of Vivian Ramnareis, who succumbed to her injuries over the weekend. With that, we anticipate that charges will be upgraded against the primary suspect who is alleged to have pulled off such a heinous act. And so we expect that there will be an additional charge for murder tacked on to Elmer Na's rap sheet in regard of this matter. I think for me, listening and following what has transpired in the wake of this deadly incident on December 31st, it was reported that in the midst of all of this, a 5-year-old daughter fled the scene by running through some bushes over to her neighbor's yard. And so I reflect on this 5-year-old who now has lost both parents, right? And we think and we wonder to ourselves, such an unfortunate situation. How does this child grow up processing what has transpired? What does this make her as an individual growing up? Because these are some of the things, and then we wonder why people do or act or think in a particular way. This kind of exposure, it's beyond me. As a parent, I'll take off my reporter hat here and go as a parent to say I couldn't even fathom how a child at that age would be able to process such a thing. And I think that's part of the broader conversation here. We still don't have a solid motive as to why the family was attacked in the manner in which they were shot and killed. There will be additional questions for either the Commissioner of Police or the brass of the police department today to find out where we go from here. I know that there's been extended coverage given to Elmer Na based on all the other allegations of his involvement in criminal activity. And so since the beginning of the year, we've had a keen eye on covering matters related to this individual. And I believe with the happenings of the weekend, we will extend our look as to see where we go from here.
I want to extend heartfelt condolences to the family of Vivian Ramnareis from the staff here at Channel 5. And I believe I speak for everyone when we say that this is just absolutely devastating to hear, especially for the start of the year. It is indeed a heinous crime. And as you rightfully mentioned, I cannot imagine how this will affect their 5-year-old daughter years to come, for the rest of her life, if I can say that much so. We do look forward to hearing the rest of this entire investigation, and I hope that this family can see justice.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. And if we were to kind of go back a bit, we know that the Director of Public Prosecutions has removed herself from being the one to argue this matter when it goes before the court. And so a special prosecutor will be brought in to be able to litigate on behalf of the Crown to ensure that justice in this case is delivered, notwithstanding whatever evidence the investigators would have come by and have gathered in terms of putting together an ironclad case against Mr. Na. That is yet to be seen. But that is where we stand. Of course, details of these stories and others you will be able to catch at 6 p.m. live on 5. If you're not in front of your television sets, that's fine. You can stream our content on Facebook or YouTube. That does it for the Eye on the News.
All right, well, now we will be looking at our headline for today. What can we expect in this morning's show is our first segment, the Belize Tourism Industry Association. They held their 37th annual general meeting on January 11th, and we will be joined by the president himself to tell us about the meeting and plans moving forward. That is Mr. Stuart Crow.
Yes, our second conversation this morning will be with our friends from the University of Belize as they discuss why it is that if you're looking for a higher education opportunity, why you should enroll at UB.
And our third and closing segment talks about St. Catherine's Academy. They celebrated 140 years in service. That's a long time, Asani. That is a long time. We will be joined by the principal to tell us more about their anniversary.
All right, so with that said, we go to our first commercial break. When we return, it's for our first conversation on tourism.
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash. She remembers that eCash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the eCash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link. She taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made. Then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier.
Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our daily classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5 Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
Do you have information about a crime or a fugitive in our community? You can submit a tip anonymously with your smartphone. Using this program in safeguarding our community also protects your identity, keeping you out of the court system, and could earn you a cash reward. Here is how it works. Download the free P3 Tips app from the Apple Store or Android Market. P3 is the provider of our secure anonymous tip collecting software. Open the app and create a PIN, but be sure to remember that number, then select your location. Next, select the type of crime. When submitting a tip, be as specific as possible. If you have a picture, video, or audio that will help officers, you can upload them from your phone. Information leading to an arrest can earn you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Once your tip is submitted, you'll be given a tip ID and password. Check back if your tip leads to an arrest. You'll be told how much you were rewarded and how to anonymously collect your cash.
Welcome back. Our conversation to kick off our show this morning is with the president of the Belize Tourism Industry Association, none other than Stuart Crone, no stranger to us. Good morning, Mr. Crone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Isani and Sabrina. Nice to see you guys.
How are you doing?
It's a cliche, but I couldn't be doing better. I'm a happy guy.
All right, so we're discussing this morning all things tourism. You're coming out of the 37th AGM for the Belize Tourism Industry Association, and I presume that there is a lot that was discussed during that particular forum, and of course there's a lot that you guys will be doing going ahead to address any issues that may arise in the tourism industry. Let's begin there. What were the primary discussions during the AGM, and perhaps some of the concerns from stakeholders in the industry?
Well, it's our first in-person meeting in 2 years, and you know that meeting in person is a lot different than having a mass meeting via Zoom. So it's always a good chance to get our membership together and network, get to know each other again. And sometimes the informal discussions that you have on the outskirts of the meeting are just as important as what you do in the formal sessions of the meeting. So it was, in general, very good to get together with our members. And it was good to hear from CEO in the ministry, Nicole Solano, set us straight on a lot of things happening in the industry. And the good news is that the industry has rebounded very well.
Yeah.
That our arrival numbers are they're getting very close to where they were in 2019. But in fact, the revenue that has been generated is actually at or exceeding our 2019 numbers. So this is it's a good sign that our visitors are spending more money. Our hotel stock is improving in quality as well as number. So the most indications are that the industry is in pretty good shape.
All right, Mr. Crone, I think the idea of security is one of the concerns that I would have, or one of the areas that I would want for you to speak on, because we're looking at events in tourism destinations that could quite easily turn things around, in a manner of speaking. I say that because I look back at the incident in Hopkins last year. Hopkins is a growing tourism destination in the country. And then I look at the incident in San Pedro, for instance, over the New Year's weekend. And when we're opening up to visitors, these are some of the things that perhaps they would be concerned about, their own personal safety. How do you as an association look at these kinds of issues?
All right, let's put things in perspective. Certainly, any situation, any criminal act that it victimizes a tourist, or any reputational change that Belize gets in terms of how visitors or potential visitors view Belize, that's critical to the industry. Let's make that clear.
Certainly.
But when, and I'm speaking personally, there's no official position that that the industry has on this, that crime is something, though, that affects a country's general population as well. So in terms of my distress, if the person killed at San Pedro sitting in a golf cart, would I feel any differently if it were a Belizean that got killed versus a tourist? And I think we have to understand that no, none of us should have felt any differently. Yes, when a tourist is shot dead in a crime like that, it hurts us. But anytime anyone dies, it hurts us. So I just want to make sure that the public understands that the tourism industry, we don't look at crime just from a selfish standpoint. It's not like, as long as tourists are safe, we're happy, but the rest of the country could go to hell in a handbasket, and as long as our tourists are safe, we're fine with it. No, we're just like anybody else. We want to see crime in the country go down. It is at an unacceptable level, and until that happens, we're not going to rest, and we're not going to be happy until the entire public is safe, not just tourists. We can have private security guards, and we can have policemen everywhere in our tourism destinations, but if people are dying every day on the south side of Belize City, we're not content. That's not the kind of society we want the tourism industry to flourish in.
Mr. Crone, we know that the BTIA is directly involved in the local festivals that we have, be it the Lobster Fest, Art Fest, just to name a few. Talk to us about the return of these festivals last year and what it really means to the association for things to open up back again.
I'm glad you asked that question, Sabrina, because that's a function of BTIA that is not often highlighted. The various festivals around the country serve a number of purposes. Certainly, festivals that take place during the so-called off-season serve to attract more tourists to the country. And so in terms of sheer numbers and building up revenues, that's important. But aside from that, these kind of festivals are a great morale builder for various destinations. It kind of brings the local population in various destinations together to get the local population more integrated into tourism. It provides things for people to do. Even though Belize is an amazing destination in terms of all the different things you can do, there's always the question of, we want our visitors, and we want include local visitors. We like things that put visitors and put ourselves in communication with the wider community. And festivals like Lobster Fest, like Sidewalk Arts Festival in Placencia, Mango Fest in Hopkins, Mistletoe Ball in Placencia, various fishing tournaments around the country. These are great things to do, and they continue to give the impression that Belize is a lively place and not just a place you come to and lie in a hammock all day.
Right.
So we're on the heels, in a manner of speaking, of the COVID pandemic, and I know that for the past 2 or so years, everything has revolved around how fickle, so to speak, the industry has been, and the shocks that it has had to absorb because of the pandemic. You mentioned earlier that the industry is rebounding considerably. What are some of the stakeholders seeing in terms of perhaps their respective roles in making sure that, notwithstanding the brunt of the pandemic being behind us, that there are still things in place to ensure that the health aspect of it is looked at seriously?
Well, I think, well, number one, we always have to be very careful and watch very closely. COVID is resurging in the United States, and you know that when America sneezes, Belize catches the flu. So COVID numbers are higher than we'd like them to be here. It's no secret that a number of employees in the industry have been out with COVID. We've had guests that have contracted COVID here, so it's something we have to always watch out for. But I think a lot of the measures that were put in place during COVID have remained with us. So I think in critical areas, masking where it's necessary is being done. I think things like frequent hand washing by employees, social distancing, gatherings tend to be more outside than indoors. I think I think all of us are very much aware of how to make things a little better in terms of how we keep ourselves clean and safe.
Mr. Krohn, talk to us about the overall meeting itself that was held. Is there anything that we can expect from the Belize Tourism Association, from the BTIA, for this coming year?
I think, you know, one of the main things that we identified was certainly the issue of training. For years and years, we've talked about establishing a tourism training institute in the country. Every year, the industry grows and the demand for trained personnel in the industry grows. Yet we still, you know, despite the job that several different institutions in Belize are doing, there really is not a unified curriculum that covers the entire industry and, more importantly, responds to the actual needs of the industry. One important deficiency is in management. I mean, so we're not necessarily just talking about, you know, teaching housekeepers how to make a bed or teaching junior cooks how to boil an egg. There really is a need to get on a training track local managers. It's no secret that too many of our hotels, because of a management labor shortage, resort to going outside the country for top management personnel. And no offense to these people, they do a great job in many cases, but there is no reason this far into the development of tourism that we should not have a better means to train our local personnel to become department heads, general managers, and owners of the tourism assets in Belize. So that's something we really need to work on. Fortunately, the ministry and the BTB are well aware of this and are taking steps to really gear up for training. And so that's probably one of the major things we'll be looking at. And we keep pushing both the ministry and BTB to get this thing done.
But it's a huge gamut if you're looking at it from that point of view, where you're looking at tour guides, tour operators, hotel staff, and the overall idea that there is an area of study, I believe it's tourism management, that's offered at the tertiary level. But I think not all of these individuals who are in the industry are educated to that point. Is that a fair assessment? Yes,
but the way we do our education has to change a little bit.
Okay.
Being good in tourism management involves a lot more than getting a degree in tourism management. The way to manage it in the industry, it's very experiential related. Yeah. So you don't just walk out of UB and suddenly become a general manager in a hotel. It doesn't work that way. You know, so any form of management training has to involve a heavy internship role. And so we need a core of professionals who have experience in all different departments, you know, whether it's a hotel, whether it's in tour operations, whether it's in restaurants. which is certainly a growing part of the tourism industry. It has to be very reality-based type of education. We get great interns in the industry. A lot of interns that we take on wind up working in the industry right out of school because of that internship. So it's not, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We just have to be smart about it and make our training choices based on what the industry actually needs, not on what some academic necessarily thinks the industry needs.
Yeah.
Are you guys expected to have your tourism summit this year as well?
We haven't decided that yet. It would not be surprising. We may introduce that kind of meeting into, say, our biannual meeting that would normally take place in the summer. But we certainly have a lot of work to do. I think the industry needs to get a higher public profile. Tourism, the statistics tell us it's 40% of our gross domestic product. That's a big chunk of the economy.
That's almost half.
Yes, and thousands of people work in the industry, but I think sometimes in the public mind, tourism, if you're not involved in the industry, it's looked at as something apart. Well, that's something that, that's something for foreigners to get involved in. And nothing could be further from the truth. If you could see how much of Belize's, say, local food production is devoted to the tourism industry, it's amazing. You see the amount of chicken, eggs, bacon, sausage, vegetables go into every hotel in the country, go into those, onto that receiving dock. You would be amazed to just sit there and watch the amount of food gets consumed by these huge numbers, by, call it a 500,000 visitors that are here over the course of a year. They eat a lot of food, and the food they eat is not cheap food necessarily.
Right.
It's a huge impact on the economy, and I think we're certainly at BTIA, we're pushing the efforts to introduce more local ingredients into the Belizean cuisine. Do we really need to import French fries to serve to our guests that eat French fries every day at home? There's so many different foods, ground foods, for example, plantain chips, cassava chips. I mean, it sounds like a little thing, but it's not a little thing. It's a big thing.
I've also seen how people are getting innovative with making breadfruit fries as well, using what we have.
It's more of an exotic.
Absolutely. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, there are literally dozens of products that that can be used. The BTIA recently sponsored a series of training sessions, San Pedro, Cayo, and Placencia, training 4 chefs that was given by Chef Quillen and Dr. Lyra Spang to introduce our local chefs to use more local ingredients. And the reaction to that was just phenomenal. And hopefully that will be translated into the use of more local foods and an innovative type of locally based cuisine that our restaurants will use. I mean, pizza is great. Everyone loves pizza. But do people come to Belize to eat pizza?
No, they don't.
No.
I think we can do a little. We all love a good pizza, but I think we can do maybe make a Belizean style pizza. There's fusion dishes that we can do, and again it goes into trying to be a little bit smarter, because the global competition for tourism, I mean, it's always been there, but since COVID, as different countries, as 150 countries of the world rebound and try to get their tourists to come back, the competition is stiffer than ever. And we've got to up our game in Belize. We got to take it to the next level. We have to provide value for money. It's easy to raise your rates, whether it's for hotels, tours, or restaurants. Inflation is taking place. We're forced to raise our rates. But if you raise rates without providing commensurate value to your product, we're going to put ourselves in trouble. So my message to our industry, brethren and sistren is go ahead and charge what you have to charge, but make sure that you're still providing value, not just raise prices for the sake of raising prices that you think you can get away with it. We have to be careful with that.
I think visitors come for the Belizean experience. And if I were to go back a bit to what you were mentioning earlier, I guess it starts with the cuisine, that's one, and two, being able to experience our cultures and what we have to offer. Because when you interact with a visitor who perhaps comes all the way from Canada, for instance, they're trying to see what is authentic and what is genuinely Belizean, and then if we're offering them something that they're familiar with from where they come from, then we're losing the spirit of being able to provide and to share something that is uniquely Belizean.
The global industry is changing. There's a growing body of tourists that do come to experience the culture. They don't want to be in an island of people just like them.
Yeah.
The example I use, Isani, is, okay, someone sitting at a bar in my hotel. So there's a doctor from Chicago that's sitting at the bar. Would that doctor from Chicago prefer to sit next to another doctor from New York or a doctor from Belize City? My feeling is that a growing number of visitors would answer that question by saying, of course I'd prefer to sit next to the doctor from Belize City because I'm going to learn things from him and he's going to learn things from me. I sit next to the doctor from New York every day when I'm back in the United States.
Yeah.
So I think that's the example to keep in mind, and I think we make a mistake when we assume that our visitors just want to hang with each other. No, I think they want to get a genuine, authentic experience, and we need to then, that has implications for our marketing and for the product that we offer here. And I think in that respect, Belize has a great advantage over certain other countries, say that specialize in all-inclusives, because at an all-inclusive resort, all you're going to have is doctors from New York and Chicago and Kansas City rubbing elbows with each other, and they never get to experience contact with Belizeans. And so it's extremely important that in a world that is growing more toward mass tourism, that we buck that trend. Sometimes it's good if everyone's going in one direction. Sometimes it's not a bad thing to go in the other direction. I think that's where the future lies for us.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Crone, for joining us this morning and talking about your annual general meeting. This is such a great conversation, and obviously there's much more we could add to it when we're talking about Belize, the overall product, what we offer. But we have to continue with our show. We just want to say thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you on set with us again on our next one.
Thank you very much, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, and we will be moving on to our second break for the morning, but when we come back, we will be joined by the University of Belize. Representatives from UB will be joining us to give us updates on what UB is offering. Is that a school for you? We'll find out when we come back.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
shopping at B-Mart. Today we're making the green super smoothie. Let's master it.
Galenia Hospital, located in Cancun, Mexico's premier tourism destination, is a state-of-the-art healthcare facility that provides highly specialized medical services. We are Quintana Roo's biggest private hospital with board-certified doctors and staff. Some of our services include cath lab, adult intensive care unit, neonatal intensive care unit, emergency rooms, operating theaters, ambulance services, and more. We are a medically accredited hospital by JCI, Accreditation Canada International, and General Health Council, providing extraordinary care in every specialty, from our cardiology department to our neurology center. We are focused on treating the entire person, body, mind, and spirit. Contact us at medicaltourism@hospitalgalenia.com or visit our website at www.hospitalgalenia.com. Come to Galenia Hospital in Cancun for a truly personal medical care experience.
My lights, yeah. Go to my lights, go to my lights. You gotta go to my lights, yeah. I wanna shine, 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 shine. I hit my lights cause that's my plan, 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 plan. My lights have your favorite brand, 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 brand. Just come with nothing in your hands, 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 hands. My lights, and it goes on and on and on. It goes on and on and on, yeah. I wanna celebrate with my lights. Sing yeah, yo, baby, let's go. My lights, I wanna celebrate with my lights. Sing yeah, yo, baby, let's go. We going to the stars, but we gon' do right. We gon' light to life, only with my light. We going to the stars, but we gon' do right. We gon' light to life, only with my light.
I was 17 and in love, and I thought he loved me too. But now I know that a loving partner should not take away your choice of clothes you wear or the music you listen to. He should not take away your purse, car keys, or your phone so that when your family calls, you cannot answer. If your partner is controlling you, it is domestic violence. Call 0800 A Way Out or our cell phone number 672-9628.
And welcome back. We are joined joined by our second guest this morning. We have Miss Camila Barker. She's the coordinator over at UB, associated with admissions. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing today?
We're great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you too for having us today.
Well, let's talk UB. We know that we're on to our first semester for the year.
Right.
Talk to us about what admissions is looking like and why should you join UB?
All right, thank you so much. As I said, good morning to you guys. Good morning, Belize. It's a pleasure to be here. The University of Belize, we operate on 4 strong pillars. You know the role of a national university. It's about teaching, it's about learning, it's about research, it's about service. And so under those different areas, of course, admission comes into play, right? Without admissions, you don't have students in the university. And so as you ask the question, what is that looking like now? That's an interesting question. We're just coming out of the pandemic. Face-to-face learning is just coming back on stream. Students, we have been out on recruitment because we have a 2-phase recruitment process. We go into the schools, we meet with the students, we introduce the university, and we evaluate the interest level, the program students are interested in, and so forth. And that looked very promising when we went in for our first segment, October to December. So the interest is high. It is now time to convert those interests into applications. And so as you ask about what is application looking like, they are coming in.
Okay.
And that is why we are here this morning, because we want to bump it up. We want to boost it, and we want Belize to know that admissions deadlines are up on us. We have various deadlines because people deserve a fair chance. You miss the first one, you catch the second. You miss the second, you catch our final call. So we have about 3 different deadlines working with. And you might ask the question, why 3 different deadlines? You have some persons who want an early response. Why? You want to apply for scholarships. You have your business to do. You want to apply for study leave. So if persons are listening to us now and they're thinking about UB, and you know you have different roles to fulfill, different deadlines to meet, you need to send your leave of absence in early, then apply early. And so we call those persons in. We say, come by the end of January so we can turn around quickly, 15 days. And respond to you. And then you have the students now who report cards are not ready at the end of January. So that deadline will not apply to you. You will catch our February, March deadline. And then we have a final call for those persons who are deliberating and not so sure. So the final call is in May. So there's a window from January up to May. You can put your application in for the August fall semester.
So we're in our first phase of
yes,
the call.
Of the call for students, right. We're in our first phase.
Tertiary education is such a competitive field in terms of trying to get enrolled in any of the various colleges or universities that offer the courses that we'll be interested in as students. What makes UB stand out? Because I'm looking at someone who's coming out of junior college or someone who is coming out of high school, if that were the case. You have options for online courses to be done. You have options of studying abroad, if that were the case.
Yes.
And in Belize, you have 2 universities at this point. You have Galen, you have UB, and I understand that SJC is coming on stream shortly. So now there are options, which makes it all the more competitive a space. What makes UB stand out from the rest?
Right, good, and that's a very good question, because you can say everybody is selling chicken or fried chicken, but what makes your fried chicken stands out? And so now you have to look at quality. You have to look at quality, and service plays an important factor. And so when we get our students into the university, unlike you have different institutions where students come in and thrown in and they're on their own, when you come to the University of Belize, just as though we're sitting one-on-one, you have that person called your academic advisor, who takes care of you from the very first day you come in until you exit, and it goes beyond into graduate studies sometimes, because sometimes we place the students in different institutions abroad. And who does that? their academic advisors, facilitating recommendations, which college to select, which master's program to go into. So we have one-to-one academic advising. In addition to that, students who come into the university are all exposed to research. And so imagine a student coming in from the high school and have that opportunity to do a research methods, to do a critical thinking course, right? To do from the different disciplines. So you come in, you're not just getting an associate and you're moving out, but you're a rounded individual, right? And as a university, we have several different areas to help you to become that holistic being. So you have recreational services, you have student support services, you have your counselor who you can go in and speak to, you have your career counselor. So some students come in, they're in a particular major, and after the first semester they realize this is not for me. They get overwhelmed. Who do they run to? You go to your counselor, you talk to the university counselor, you talk to the career placement officer or career advisor. Persons are going through financial difficulties. Who do they go to? There's an entire department of student services. You can go on a payment plan. We can connect you with different persons in DFC to acquire loans. So we cater to the holistic person, and you're not just, we don't care for you whilst you're in your program. We take care of you before you get in. That's why you have admissions and recruitment. When you get in and even when you're out, and that makes us stand out. You look at the quality of lecturers. Did you know that UB has the largest number of qualified lecturers in the country as the national university? Right? And so these are some of the things parents have to look on. Who are teaching my children? Right? The level of quality, the service, what is there at the institution to help them, not just to get a paper and move on, but how is my child developing holistically, their social development, psychological developments, because you're an entire being. So we don't just focus on academics. And so there are many services to help the students when they come to us at UB.
I guess the second most important question that anyone would have as a prospective student is the affordability of the courses being offered, and of course your course of studies. If you're doing 2 years, 4 years, or however long, what are we looking at there?
Well, affordability, you can look at it from different perspectives. Some persons can afford to attend school on a full-time basis, where you come and you take your 6, 7, 8 courses for the semester. Some persons are not able to do that, and you can attend only on a part-time basis. And so there is flexibility at UB, right? As a university, you choose to study part-time or full-time. The cost remains the same. You're looking at $44 per credit hour, as opposed to $450 where you'd have to pay if you have to move on, you know, in different institutions. But $44 per credit at the associate level. For one semester, an associate student pays like a minimum of $1,200, and the semester is made up of about 5 months. And so if you can't pay $1,200 up front, then you pay on a plan where you pay 25%. You pay $350 per month. So we try to make it affordable. If you're doing a bachelor's program, that would run you a little bit over $2,000 per semester. And of course, you can go on that payment plan. And there are different scholarship opportunities. You can always write to our scholarship office seeking assistance through scholarship. And the university offers bursaries from time to time. So if a student knows they're in financial need, all they have to do is tap into the resources of the university, because there are ways to assist. And partnering with DFC is a good one too, because they offer different student loan option. I always tell students, don't be afraid to acquire a loan. If you can't pay for it from your pocket on your own, then go to those who can assist.
Because it's an investment in your education.
It is an investment. It is an investment.
Ms. Parker, let's talk the evolution of learning over the past 3 or so years since COVID-19. We have seen institutions adapt to what has been unprecedented times, where students were not able to have in-person classes. We've had to go online. Talk to us about what the University of Belize is doing as it relates to online learning?
Right. So COVID has thrown the new norm on us. I mean, persons you got into, we are seeing where our students got into online learning, and now we are at the point where they don't want to let it go. They want the flexibility, and a number of our students are working class people, and they want that flexibility. And so the university is now at that point of looking into transitioning. And so I won't be able to delve much into where that decision is right now, but of course several of our classes now are being offered online to accommodate that population because of the dynamics. Things have changed, and so if we remain static, then we might all have to go home, right? And so we have to change. We have to change with the times, or else we will caught or be left behind. So that's what we're looking at now, how we can do that.
I also want to touch on the population of students that you have, because I think it is considered that the University of Belize is a university for persons coming right out of high school, right? You can go straight to the university there. But what are the services and the flexibility aside from online learning that you guys offer for persons that are working students as well, that can only do school after 5?
Right.
What does that look like?
And so you can choose to come in, as I said, as a part-time, where you come in to do classes after 5.
Okay.
Or you have the opportunity or ability to select those classes as online learners. So you can select your courses online, or if you prefer to come in face-to-face, you do so after 5 for part-time persons. So if you're working and you want to study, the opportunity is there. Whether you want to take it online or you want to come in the traditional face-to-face way.
Do you guys see a lot of students that are working students?
We do have a lot of working students. We have a lot of part-time students.
Okay.
Yes.
Of the many courses that are being offered by the university, what is perhaps the one course that is gravitated to most by people who are applying to study at UB?
The programs, we have over 50 programs, and we have 4 faculties. There is one faculty that is always oversubscribed, and that's the Faculty of Health Sciences. So a number of persons are gravitating towards the nursing, the social work, and the different health science programs. But also in the Faculty of Management and Social Science, you have the business programs that are also fully subscribed. Tourism is coming back on stream again. A lot of persons are also into education. We need to have more educators or more teachers coming into our programs, right? We need to recruit more of those. And so if there are teachers listening to us this morning, we want them to know that these education programs are up. Those ones are dwindling a little bit, so we know that we need persons to gravitate and to look towards an education major degree. So we know that the health sciences are good and business are doing well as also, and some of our science programs are booming as well, the biology and chemistry majors and so forth. So we have some of our programs that are doing very well, and then we have others that we need to bump up. Our marine biology, we need to see persons coming into natural resource management. We have a program called Bachelor's in Statistics, History, Spanish. We need to have these programs, more persons coming into those areas.
Do you guys offer PhDs?
Not at this time. Not at this time. We were looking in the Masters of Philosophy, but not at this time. No, not PhD, not yet.
But you know what, though? I think a lot of people would be surprised to know that there are teachers that have PhDs that are very much teaching.
Exactly, and that is what I could refer back to my first point where we talk about UB having the most or the highest level of qualified lecturers in the country. A number of our faculty are PhD holders, and so those are some of the things parents have to think about when you're making, and students making a decision. What's the quality of the people who are teaching me, you know?
How do you expand beyond 50 programs?
How do we?
Yeah, because that's quite a lot to choose from, but I'm almost certain it still doesn't cover the entire gamut of courses that persons would want to pursue.
Right.
Like, for argument's sake, I don't know that there is any tertiary level, secondary or tertiary level institution that offers journalism, for instance.
Right.
Perhaps the industry isn't as broad or as big as we'd want it to be. So perhaps there isn't that option at this point for one to pursue those courses locally. But I'm almost certain that people are looking for other courses or programs that they could enroll in. How do you begin to look at, okay, if we're at 50, let's go to 55, for instance?
Right. So you look at market demand, of course, and you also have to speak to industry. You have to talk with your industry to hear what is coming in, what it is that you require. You have to do your feasibility studies. So when you go out to recruitment, that's some of the information you want to gather. What is John interested in? What is Tom interested in? And we are not offering. And so the conversation starts there. What is being demanded? So you have to listen to the people, your prospects, your candidates, and then you have to engage with industry. And so that's where the conversation begins. You execute, you do your research, and so things start to build from there. But of course, 50 plus is a lot. And there are still programs that persons are asking for, as you said, journalism, that they're not there as yet. But for somebody who wants to do, and what we try to do some of the time is use programs that are very close to or almost in alignment with your desired goal. For example, going back to journalism, a person who wants to do that, they are not able to leave Belize. Some of them are 16, 17. We have them starting an associate in English because English background is the foundation to journalism. And so a number of our students would start in an English program, and then they matriculate into their media and communication studies. So there are gateways to do that. For persons who want to go in like aviation, we don't offer that. But our maths and physics program, because we have an associate in math and physics, and that's a perfect gateway to transition into your aviation program. So there are different ways that we align those students to their end goal, right? People who want to go into medicine, UB is coming on stream with that. We are coming on stream with a medical program. We usually tell persons, once you want to go into medicine, the University of Belize Bio and Chemistry is the only and the best for you at that time, because that matriculates you seamlessly into med school, right? So there are stepping stones too. That's why one of our little mantra, we say, jumpstart your career with us. Because if you don't have the full gamut there, you will find something to springboard from when you're ready to go launch further into your area.
I want to talk accreditation, Ms. Parker, because I remember my junior college years, and the discussion amongst my peers was that you don't go to this school if you're trying to transition into schools overseas. Tell us about the accreditation of the University of Belize as it relates to transitioning to universities overseas, colleges in the U.S. perhaps. What is that looking like?
Thanks. How many years ago you attended junior college? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Almost 10 years
All right, I see. I asked because I realized, yes, it must have been some years ago. Belize has moved past that, and they are now seeing that our credits are transferable locally, internationally, wherever. We have students from all the different continents in the world. There is a level of diversity at UB that's just unimaginable. So we have persons coming from all over, and our students operate in the global village. They are not turned away from any institution, and that's something we boast on as a university. Our students can go anywhere, and we call our credits transportable. So it's transportable because wherever you go, it goes with you, right? And I'm happy you touch on that, because when you talk about accreditation, accreditation is a stamp of approval. It means that your processes are so excellent, I just need to stamp off on them. Now, if we are not doing a good job, you can't be accredited. And so persons now need to understand that accreditation is a process. You have to be doing this good over a period of years before you can get that stamp of approval. The University of Belize has been doing this good and more And I pray for the day when Belize will catch that vision, that the National University is doing so much in terms of quality, service, research. We are getting into a rich culture of research where every week almost you see lecturers are coming in. This publication, they are in that. And so our faculty members are getting steep into research. And we know what research does for an institution and for a country, right? And so those are the things you want to look at, your processes over the years. So when you submit your documents for that stamp of approval, you get your big grade A. And UB is in the process of doing that right now. We are at the point in which we are working on getting that stamp of approval because our processes are lining up and it will meet the accreditation standard. So gone are the days when persons would say, oh, not UB because they're that's from in the past. And that's why I asked you the question, because that's ancient. Our people are moving out. I'm not. We might be in the same age group. Our people are launching out and they are realizing that UB credits are transportable. So we are in the new era.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be afraid to come to us. Step into our gates with confidence because it will take you places. And before you come, I want to talk about the same thing you touched on in terms of study abroad. Because our students go there, Taiwan, China, they go Europe, North America, and they study and they compete with the students who are there. So it means we're doing a good job. How could you compete with people from the different continents if you were not getting the foundation here? I want our Belizean to catch that vision because UB is like a gem tucked away and persons have some old misconceptions and they just block it in their mind and they lock it and zip it up, and it doesn't matter what you say, they're set in their ways. But the university is moving, people are being trained and launching out into society, and it's time for them to catch that vision. It's time for them to catch that vision.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing the vision of UB with us. For persons that would like to apply to University of Belize, we are in our first, they are in their first phase. I'm advocating for that. Talk to us about how students or incoming students can get the application just before we wrap up.
Right. So applications are on all our campuses, Belize City, Punta Gorda, and in Belmopan. But from the convenience of your very home, you can access the online application. So if you don't want to do your paper-based, then you just have to hop onto our website, www.ub.edu.bz, and you can access the full works from there.
An application fee, is there
Application fee is $30.
$30. All right. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Barker.
Yes.
Is there any parting words? You look like you wanted to say something.
I know, right? Just to close off, that persons who apply on time before the 31st of March get a chance to actually win tuition discounts.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we just want to advocate and promote that this morning.
Perfect. Everyone will definitely appreciate that. All right. We will be going on to our third and final segment. The St. Catherine's Academy will be visiting us and talking about 140 years of service.
Indeed.
Yes. We will be having that when we come back. Thank you. And all right.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart.
It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Your life just got a lot less complicated with Belize Bank Contactless MasterCard Debit Card. Introducing our Standard Debit and MasterCard Platinum Debit Cards. Now you can make purchases anywhere MasterCard is accepted with one tap, pay and go. Your contactless card never has to leave your hands, especially in these times. And your card is embedded with multiple layers of security. Platinum card holders get to enjoy extra benefits like price protection, purchase protection, trip inconvenience, and luggage protection, just to name a few. Start enjoying a cashless lifestyle today with the Belize Bank.
Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo Messi! What an incredible strike from Leo Messi! Neymar and Messi standing over this. Messi! Off goal! What a goal from Leo
Great entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
Do you have information about a crime or a fugitive in our community? You can submit a tip anonymously with your smartphone. Using this program in safeguarding our community also protects your identity, keeping you out of the court system, and could earn you a cash reward. Here is how it works. Download the free P3 Tips app from the Apple Store or Android Market. P3 is the provider of our secure anonymous tip collecting software. Open the app and create a PIN, but be sure to remember that number, then select your location. Next, select the type of crime. When submitting a tip, be as specific as possible. If you have a picture, video, or audio that will help officers, you can upload them from your phone. Information leading to an arrest can earn you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Once your tip is submitted, you'll be given a tip ID and password. Check back if your tip leads to an arrest. You'll be told how much you were rewarded and how to anonymously collect your cash.
Are you looking for low-cost television advertising? Have we got a deal for you? Advertise on Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds is one of the most effective methods for introducing yourself and your business to the community. Use our Daily Classifieds to recruit employees, promote specials, promote your products or services, promote a business opportunity, increase traffic to your website, and advertise items you have for sale. Let us help you to save valuable time and money. Call us today at 280-0013 or visit us at our offices on Coney Drive to discuss how we can help your business grow affordably. Channel 5's Daily Classifieds. Advertise today.
What did you mean earlier about climate change, Mom?
Well, when I was your age, I remember beautiful coral reefs and healthy beaches. The summers weren't as hot as they are right now, and the rainy season meant that it only rained when it was supposed to.
And then what happened?
The weather just started to change, and storms got worse. Coral reefs started to die because the ocean was getting too warm, and crops started to die because there was not much rain. You know, we realized as adults that we were doing something that was causing this.
What were you all doing?
Same thing we're doing now. Not using clean, renewable energy, chopping down too many trees, and even polluting the air with gases, such as the gases emitted from our cars when we drive around.
We need some help before it's too late, Mom. We can't let it get worse. What can I do? We can raise our voices.
With 35 million dreams, aspirations, and futures at risk in Carry Forum, we need your voice in our story against climate change. Acknowledge, commit, act. This message is brought to you by the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center under the Intra-ACP Global Climate Change Alliance Plus program and is funded by the European Union.
And welcome back. Our final conversation for the morning is with the representatives of the SCA, St. Catherine Academy, as they celebrate 140 years of service to Belize. That being said, we have with us the principal of SCA, Salome Tillich. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
We also have with us Sister Rose Rivero from SCA as well. Good morning.
Good morning.
140 years. Wow, that's a very long time for any school to be in existence, right? Okay. It's almost as if though, like, if we're comparing it to the Ivy League schools in the United States that have that history and that legacy. Where do we begin from with that, with SCA? Because that's a mighty long time.
Yes. I think the story of the beginning is a good one. Sister Rose, maybe you could share.
Yeah. Okay. In Belize, we only had one parish, which became Holy Redeemer. But it was, and the Spanish Jesuits were here in Belize, but they opened a school which became Holy Redeemer, but this was only for boys.
Yeah.
And as a result, they wanted to have a girls' school. So they approached the Sisters of Mercy in New Orleans for this school. Well, they were up to it. They would love to come, but they had to get permission.
Yeah.
So Father De Pietro, who became the bishop later on in Belize, had to go to Rome because they were sending these sisters to a foreign country. But anyway, eventually in 79, he went 1883. The sisters came, and immediately within that week, they ran the Spanish school, as they call it, the Holy Redeemer, and then they started our own school, St. Catherine's Elementary, and then they extended it to the high school later on. So beside that, the sisters, beside doing school work, they were also sisters in the Ministry of Healthcare. So they've been in that, and that was their day job. On weekends, they went to the missions. Like the sisters went to Bomba, St. Anne, Our Lady of the Way, Sister Catherine, which became Ladyville today, and all over. And as people retired from school, they took on other ministries. Like we had sisters down in PG who ran a clinic, and Sister Rebecca went into studying nursing, but they always
prison ministry.
And the prison the sisters were always involved in prison ministry. As you know, the prison was our neighbor.
Yes, for many years.
Sister, what you gonna bring me for Christmas? Right through the window,
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be here for Christmas. Can you bring my gift soon? But anyway, so the Sister Consuelo really did that a lot. She became principal at one time at St. Catherine's too. But she took on the prison ministry, and she used to go with the gallows with the condemned. Wow. That's a special gift to do that. So she did that. And then later on, other sisters did the prison ministry, in different
So what did you guys do to celebrate 140 years, or what are you doing? Perhaps it's a year-long celebration, I would want to think.
It is a year-long celebration, and it's a celebration of our history, our legacy, tradition, the impact of mercy on Belize, and worldwide, because we have women all over the world who are doing exceptional work. And so here in Belize, this weekend, as we celebrate these women that came, and what I always get from that story is, in that time, you could imagine, 140 years to leave home, young woman leave home to a colony that was barely developed at that time, and not knowing if you'd ever see home again, the courage that they took to do that. And I think that is what we have inherited, that legacy of not being afraid to tread on uneven waters, the courage to inspire even despite challenges. And so that is what we celebrate today, the character, the spirit, the qualities, the legacy of mercy and our Mercy Women. And we start on Friday morning with a panel. We call it Mercy and Me. And we've asked alumni who have done outstanding work in Belize, who we see as inspiration. Justice Michelle Arana, your very own Marlene Cuellar. We also have Sister Lisa Griffith, who is from the Mercy Education System, because now that we've moved away from having all these sisters on campus, we've evolved into a structure that allows for a body to oversee all Mercy schools throughout the Americas. That's MESA. So there are 42 Mercy high schools owned or sponsored by the Sisters of Mercy. And so these women are going to be sharing their point of view. Honorable Tracy Panton will be a part of that panel as well. And so they will be inspiring the young girls and talking about how Mercy has impacted them. Immediately following that, we are doing a street parade, a little celebration, showcase of Mercy.
Yeah.
We are doing, and it's going to be a little bit different, celebrating women. And then on Saturday, we have a mass for our alumni, big mass, a little entertainment follows. And on Sunday, the sisters have a more private celebration. And through the course of the year, we have a prayer book that we will launch. We have a gala lined up for September, and to alumni out there planning to come to Belize, add the 23rd to your schedule. We also were working on a stamp collection. Like, there's just, so many ways we could celebrate what Mercy has given to Belize and the world.
I want to touch on the legacy, the prestige of attending the St. Catherine's Academy. It has had such a long-standing reputation of being an institution of prestige, of honor if you go to that school, really. How have you guys sustained that?
Well, the challenge is to combine the principles that don't change, our faith, spiritual growth, honoring women, seeing empowerment of women as key to what we do, and moving with the times. So we are in a world where technology is important, putting in programs that prepare our girls to live in the world that they live in, so it's a unique combination, really. I always tell the sisters, I would do this for free. It's so special. Mercy Legacy plus combining with our team of teachers, administrators who look at how we can poise our girls to be ready for what comes next. How do we prepare them? So we love our legacy, we live it every day, we value it, but we can't stay there. We have to be moving also with our times.
You have to evolve.
Yes.
And I will tell you this much, I can definitely see that it's effective, because I have witnessed interacting with young people coming out of primary school, and when you ask them, of course girls, what high school do you want to go to? SCA tops that list. How does it feel knowing that your work is that impactful, that little girls are itching, they're waiting, they're excited to attend an institution with so much respect?
It's a special privilege, really, because we see that as an honor, because those 4 years of high school is when our young girls make the transition to young adulthood. So we walk that journey with them. If you take the pictures in first form, ponytail, pigtails, plaits. By fourth form, it's all sophistication. It's perm hair. It's fighting with them about nails and eyebrows and all the rest of it. So we make that journey with them, and something about that is unforgettable. Because they go on to become doctors, and they remember their high school years, their high school friends. The friendships are important. And I think with our student council, we've been able to add fun to it. So yes, we do a lot of rigorous academic work, but there's a lot of fun too. There's a lot of things that help the girls themselves, because when we have girls that transfer in, who told them to come here? SCA girls, they're our best marketing ambassadors, because they're out there. Oh, my school is so much fun. And I always remember I was speaking to a principal of an elementary school, and she said, more recently, she said, what do you do to your girls? She said, I told my daughter, I'll send your bed to SCA. She said, because everything you get, she's sick, I want to go to school. So what do you do with these girls? I said, we just love them. We respect them, we love them.
So as a parent, I'm also faced with the same So I have a daughter who will be transitioning to high school in the coming months, for September. And my goal is to be able to share with her all the options that are available to her. But she is gung-ho on SCA, like
my point exactly.
You can't say, okay, well, these are all the other high schools that you can go to and look into applying and what have you if she has her mind made up, right? But it's a long-standing tradition, though, right? And I think as much as there is SJC for the boys, there is SCA and Palote for the girls. It's a part of that tradition where you're grounded in faith. I think that's the first thing that is there, is that you go there because there's a structure and a belief system that you will be a part of. And I think for the most part, once you get involved with these institutions, it shapes you in terms of your role in society down the road. I think that's one of the factors that separate these three secondary schools. SCA, though, you guys take the cake. I mean,
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
You can't argue with that SCA, girl.
Thank you.
I think we shouldn't shortchange Muffles.
Okay.
Because Muffles is also our sister school.
Okay.
Okay, that was started by the Jesuits at Ben. We took it over in the 60s. So it is our Mercy School. So they're our sisters.
That is for our good friends in Orange Walk.
In Orange Walk, yeah.
And I'll tell you this much, sister. Interacting with persons from Orange Walk, I would say SCA is like the Muffles for Orange Walk because they carry that same level of pride. They are very proud of being students of that high school as well.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, talk to us about what's next for SCA.
Well, the future is filled with opportunities, and I believe our limitation is only our imagination. We could do anything. Anything is possible. My friend Dr. Jules always said the Caribbean, what stifles us is not our lack of resources, but our lack of imagination, and I believe that. I think that the team that we have at SCA, our teachers, they do amazing things every day. They have wonderful ideas. They are willing to push the bar. So where we are, actually I should say this, our technology club group, they are finalists in the Caribbean Science Foundation Science and Technology competition, and it is because these kids are willing to work hard. They go above and beyond, and so if they come to us, like we ask them, what would you like to see? If money was not the problem, what would you like to see happen at your school? And we have a list that we are working down from. And this is from the students. They say, we would like to see, well, of course, the comforts like AC in every classroom, you know, but they also want to see different programs. They want to see preparation for certain areas. They want to do more in the community. They want to do more with women. So they guide us, you know. We see where it starts with them. But that's why I say, you know, we talk about the SC of the future. It could be anything because imagination is the limitation.
You know,
the work will be there.
I want to talk about some of your graduates last year. We saw some of the graduates transitioning to Ivy League schools as well. That's so Can you talk about what that means to the school?
I mean, it's immensely important for us. We saw, for example, Salima, who was offered a $500,000 US scholarship.
Wow.
You know, to attend a school. She chose to go to Columbia, and she has gone and she has done well. She is like a joy for the school, I believe. And she has taken on the challenge with, like, I can do this. You know, I'm a Mercy girl. I can do this. I will represent my school. I will represent Belize well. So when they came, a group of girls, actually we have girls in Canada, in the US, they came and we asked them, like, what are the areas that we need to help you so you are better prepared? And they were able to say, you know, miss, we felt we could handle it in just about every subject. One area they pointed out to us is research. Prepare us to do research, to quote the MLA and AP and all those pesky things that are necessary in a research paper. You know, they cited that as something. They also said like critical thinking. I think we need a little bit more, but they realize that they go into schools where students actually prepare to go into those schools. We didn't do anything extraordinary. Our ordinary everyday preparation was enough to get them there and to get them doing well. Maybe they say they're not the usual 4.0 that they automatically got. They have to work harder, but they are able to handle it. There's no one who is not making it. And so please tell that to your daughter and to her father. She will be well prepared, you know, wherever she goes.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I mean, I definitely believe that I speak for everyone when we say that SCA leaves a legacy that will continue for decades, perhaps another century to come.
We certainly hope so.
Is there any parting messages that you guys would like to share?
Well, I'll say two things, if you give me the opportunity. One is that of the models of school, you know, you have all boys, you have co-ed, and you have all girls. All girls, the research shows, all girls is the best school for girls. They are not in competition with the boys. They are able to flourish and foster, and we can teach to the style that a more nurturing environment that suits them. So that's I think that's a big factor in it. And also I want to encourage alumni to participate. This is a celebration of you. Wherever you are, whatever you do, we encourage you, come out, be a part of the mass on Saturday, be a part of the parade by groups. We're hoping they'll join a few others and be a part of this little parade. The sisters will lead us. We have sisters visiting from Honduras even, where the sisters from Belize went to start an orphanage. So we would be very happy to see them, you know, and also for the sisters to celebrate with them.
All right. And you, Sister Rose?
Oh, there's just so many things. Yes, we're very happy that, you know, this has continued through the years, and we hope that we would get new members. That is a big, you know, one of the things as I was rereading the history, you know, after the hurricane in 1933, they wanted help because I know the buildings were demolished and they needed help, and they appealed to the sisters in the States. 1,000 people volunteered. 1,000 people volunteered, and of course we had no buildings, but that generosity, you know, I don't know, even among the priests too, it isn't there today. So I would like to see how that can be changed, because St. Catherine's is going to be just a lay school, lay principal and lay teachers, but we need some of the sisters' presence. I think the sisters' presence bring a different aspect to the school, you know, and so we've been trying, Salome's been trying hard to encourage the girls, you know. It's a good life. It's rewarding.
What has the reaction been from the girls?
Oh, they know, but it's like, oh.
Do they think they have to be perfect?
No. The mothers say, I want grandchildren.
Oh, okay.
But they find out later that might not have been the best choice.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's debatable. I mean, there's so many ways that you can look at that. But again, thank you guys so much for joining us and talking about your legacy. We thank you guys so much for being on set and sharing the history of SCA, and hopefully a legacy that can continue.
Thank you very much. We hope to have it documented in a museum one of these days. The sisters have an extensive archive with a lot of the historical facts, both in Belize and abroad.
Wow.
The facts are stored. So one day we will have an archive, and you'll be welcome to view.
We'll definitely be documenting that.
Yes.
All right, well, that concludes our final segment, and we will be coming back to wrap up the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and when we come back, we'll be having another little chit chat and just covering up everything. Don't go away.
Hola usuario de eCash, la aplicación eCash está disponible en español. Cambiar el idioma de tu aplicación de eCash de inglés a español es rápido y sencillo. Déjame mostrarte cómo se hace. Primero, abre tu aplicación eCash. Introduce tu PIN. Toca el icono More en la parte inferior de tu pantalla. Selecciona Security. Selecciona Language. Y luego selecciona Spanish. Vuelve a introducir tu PIN y ya está. Tu aplicación de eCash está ahora en español y puedes seguir disfrutando de tu cartera digital eCash. La aplicación eCash de Belize Bank te hace la vida más fácil.
The Social Security Board, in collaboration with the Labor Department, takes this opportunity to remind insured persons of the requirements for compensation when on sick leave. Any employee who has worked with an employer for at least 2 months is entitled to 16 working days of sick leave with full pay every year. This is how it works. Upon approval of a sickness or injury benefit claim by SSD, 80% of the employee's weekly insurable earnings is paid as a Social Security benefit, and the difference in the employee's salary is paid by the employer. This is to ensure that the employee does not suffer any loss of wages when ill. After 16 days, compensation for sick leave is paid as a Social Security benefit only. Some conditions apply. This message is brought to you by the Social Security Board and the Labor Department. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
Smart introduces Real Unlimited Postpaid Plans, providing customers with unlimited talk, unlimited text, and unlimited data. Now that's a real great deal. With Smart Plus, Share 1 and 2, and Enterprise 1 and 2 plans, you can talk as much as you want, text as much as you want, and for the first time ever in Belize, you can enjoy unlimited data with your postpaid plan. So come in and sign up for an unlimited postpaid plan and enjoy limitless possibilities. In addition, other plans such as the Flex Junior, Choice, and Select have been boosted with a lot more talk, text, and data, providing you with the best value for your budget. Be unlimited with Smart. It's time to power your dollar with Smart.
Do you have information about a crime or a fugitive in our community? You can submit a tip anonymously with your smartphone. Using this program in safeguarding our community also protects your identity, keeping you out of the court system, and could earn you a cash reward. Here is how it works. Download the free P3 Tips app from the Apple Store or Android Market. P3 is the provider of our secure anonymous tip collecting software. Open the app and create a PIN, but be sure to remember that number, then select your location. Next, select the type of crime. When submitting a tip, be as specific as possible. If you have a picture, video, or audio that will help officers, you can upload them from your phone. Information leading to an arrest can earn you a cash reward of up to $1,000. Once your tip is submitted, you'll be given a tip ID and password. Check back if your tip leads to an arrest. You'll be told how much you were rewarded and how to anonymously collect your cash.
Wrapping up our show this morning, we had such a lovely conversation.
Yes.
From tourism to university, all the way down to legacy of high schools. Isani, talk to me. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts?
I appreciate the diversity in the conversations this morning. But you know, if I were to look at these conversations and tie everything together, so you go from, in the case of young girls who become young women, you go from SCA to UB.
Yeah.
And in that course, some will be pursuing tourism management and other related courses. And so if I'm to look at it in that kind of way, the conversations tie in very well.
Perfectly, yes. Is there any perhaps interesting things that you have taken from from either of the segments today?
Well, I think, to me, the idea of SCA celebrating 140 years,
is a long
I did not
time.
know that they were in existence for such a long period of time.
Yeah.
And you know, what I do know and what I'm certainly aware of is the strong legacy that they have built as an academic institution. I did not know how long, but it's very, you know, good, interesting, heartwarming even to know how far and how long they've come in terms of building young women in this country.
No, I have to absolutely agree with you. I think what really stuck to me in that conversation was just how much pride comes with legacy. One, the pride of knowing that you're getting quality education as well, really showcases in the students that are always so eager to apply to the institution as well. An example is your daughter, for instance. So I'm really happy to hear that we have institutions that are really making that type of impact in Belize, and I really look forward to seeing how much more the St. Catherine's Academy will continue to build on its legacy. But of course, we're wrapping up the show, and we would love to stay with you, but all good things do come to an end, and hopefully they do continue for another day as well. So catch us again tomorrow, where you will be opening your eyes.
Start your morning right.
Bear with me, guys. I'm working on my intro and closing. I'm new here. Of course, we do want to extend all well wishes to April, the usual host here. We hope that she's recovering well. So until then, keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
And your hearts open. I'm your host, Sabrina Daly.
I'm Isana Cayetano. We'll see you guys tomorrow when you open your eyes to start your morning right.
We're also supposed to talk to you guys about how you can get in touch with us. So you can catch us on Facebook as well. I'm sorry, guys. I am getting used to this. But you can catch us on Facebook on Open Your Eyes BZ. You can also send us an email, prompts email at channel5belize.com. You can also check out our highlights and reels on Instagram, which is OIE Belize. So, guys,
see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank,